This is Free Speech News. And as the occupation of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. continues, the Democrats, per their request, the military agreed to keep thousands of National Guard troops for at least 10 weeks as of now. And I'm sure that they will try, to extend it longer because we know what they are doing here. And the Department of Defense is the one who agreed to approve this. And I think a lot of Americans would like to know why. Where are the threats? And they are building more walls. Every day we see trucks and people reporting of trucks bringing in more fencing, but they hate the Mexican wall. How hypocritical is that? And why do they want these troops here so bad? It's a question that should be and needs to be answered. Why won't Congress call them in to testify or something? I mean, what is going on here? This is getting and is out of control already. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But also, we have the border crisis. It is continuing to get out of hand as law enforcement officials report, per this Breitbart article, that U.S. Customs and Border Protection is busing hundreds of unaccompanied children from the Rio Grande Valley to other border communities. And this is already totally out of control. And I mean, what are they going to do with all these kids in the middle of a pandemic? Having them huddled close, dealing with U.S. agents, putting those agents at risk. And the Biden administration wants to talk about COVID-19. But when it comes to this, I guess it doesn't matter. When you are having 2,000 people captured in one day, that's a huge, huge problem. And the mainstream media will not cover it. They are trying to hide this, but it is almost unhideable at this point, as thousands upon thousands are continuing to go to the border every day. And the Biden administration is telling us that everything is okay and this is necessary. It is absolutely insane. I mean, the numbers just continue to grow. And speaking of Biden and COVID-19, we had Biden as he made an obvious prepared speech about COVID-19, and he could barely talk. And get this, only 1,049 people watched his speech live on the White House channel. But you're telling me this guy got 80 million votes? I mean, are you kidding me? What happens when any president in the past few years, when they have real, true supporters. And when they speak, thousands watch them. But the guy who got the most votes in history only gets a few thousand, I'm sure, with YouTube and whatnot. And not only that, but after Joe Biden was done talking on TV, reporters shouted questions about the border crisis, and his handlers were screaming at reporters to tell them to leave, and Biden hurry up and shuffled away, not to answer any questions.
The surplus will, if we have a surplus, we're going to share it with the rest of the world. We've already decided we're going to work with the outfit COVAX. We've committed $4 billion to help get the funding for more vaccines around the world. This is not something that can be stopped by a fence, no matter how high you build a fence or a wall. So we're not going to be ultimately safe until the world is safe. And so we're going to start off making sure Americans are taken care of first, but we're then going to try to help the rest of the world. Thank you.
And as you've seen that little video there, you can still see his mental decline. And we know it's been 50 days since he has held a press conference. And it is unprecedented. He hasn't given a State of the Union. And the media and the people that control him continue to keep him away from reporters. And it's only going to happen, it's bound to happen that Kamala Harris is going to take over. And also, speaking of Biden and Kamala and Biden administration and their support for China, we have breaking news as a new report says that China is in violation of the UN Genocide Convention, and that they have perpetrated genocide against the Uyghurs. With this article coming from Just the News, and it says that the report includes forced sterilization of Uyghur women in an effort for them not to have a child and not to let their culture grow. And this China report, it comes from New Lines Institute for Strategy and Policy. And we also know that China is open about these things, and once saying that the purpose of these campaigns is to stop the Uyghur women from being baby-making machines. But yet Biden talks as if China is not doing any of these sorts of things. And this report says that the Uyghurs are suffering from systematic torture, including being beaten with metal rods, electric shock, and whips. And I'm guessing it's probably a whole lot more than that. And also, this report says that these people, and by the way, they are in concentration camps. And this report says they are driven to suicide because of the psychological torture, including mock executions and solitary confinement. And I'm sure it's not for a couple weeks. It's probably a lot longer. But this is the country that Biden supports, who says that we are in competition with them. Friendly competition, mind you. And Biden won't even admit that they're doing these types of things. And he obviously knows that they are. And he doesn't care because it would hurt China. And we know China has Biden and the Biden family wrapped around their fingers. So I'm wondering how this will play out and what this will mean. And let's see if the Biden administration will even be asked any questions about this. And even when they are, I'm sure they will be downplaying this a whole lot. And their policies are killing America right now. So we must stand up and fight, and we must continue to fight, people. Number one on the agenda must be changing election law. And I'm sorry to say this, but in 2024, this was a Free Speech News broadcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep the faith.